Do you guys feel like your shows would be competing against reality TV as much as against other comedies? Is there any resentment of reality overtaking the genre or anything like that? Or is this something you never think about?
I watch American Idol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Biggest Loser, come on. Nobody is excited about Biggest Loser.
Do you watch Biggest Loser?
I watch Biggest Loser. They lose enormous amounts of weight.
Right.
They do.
I think you better take people who won't eat and see how fat you can get. I think, you know, I think that would be.
And then
really
they should
way.
fight each other at the end. They should have a they should have a battle.
So many people watch TV because they obviously I know it's cliche, but they live vicariously. What reality has done is it's taken the fantasy of them being these people and it's made them the people. It's really going, the guy sitting on the couch could be the Biggest Loser or the one on Survivor. So it's taken that voyeuristic quality and it's actually put them, you know, in the picture. But I think as creative people, it's you know, the beginning of the end, because it's taken the craft out of everything, whether it's directing or writing or acting or you know, anything like that. So I think it scares a lot of the people on that.
At the end of the day, too, it's like what Tony was saying before, is it's sort of about the product in a weird way. I feel like, you know, there are a lot of TV shows that are written TV shows, and I think that don't make it because maybe they weren't as good. Or so I feel like the reality thing, in my opinion, it's sort of justice in a weird way. I mean, there will be people who want to see people living in a house together, but I've seen reality shows like Intervention, which I think is amazing. You know what I mean? So it's like when you have the product and you do it really well, and I think American Idol is a whole nother thing. It's like people want to see people be stars, and I get that. I mean, it's when you get into versions of other reality shows, it's like we've had the real world, so now how do we make the real world but with people who are painted green? It's like, well, that doesn't make any sense, and I feel like there will be justice for that show, or it'll be a huge hit show for people who love watching people painted green.
And let's face it, there's so many outlets now for so many different shows, and reality, it's for me, watching real people is very entertaining. I used to love Candid Camera because it was real people.
It's not a new idea.
Yeah. I mean, nothing was.
I mean,
funny
even you know, Ted Mack Amateur Hour. I mean, it's basically, you know, American Idol is a glorified version of that. So it's something that's been around for decades.
Is the acknowledgement that they know, like when people are manipulating the sort of candid thing, it's like,
oh, well, these shows are about perceived authenticity, but it's not actual. I mean, if you see these shows, they're incredibly produced, and everybody is coached on what they're going to say, and they have writers, and they're, you know, so it's not, you know, there's the documentary type show like an Intervention, which tries to take, you know, to view their subject with some sort of documentary reality, and then there's the rest of them that are really manufactured, and that's a little disturbing to me as I watch it and I go, this is produced within an inch of its life. How can anybody perceive this as reality?
John, do you think The Office would be accepted by an audience if they weren't already primed via reality shows?
I mean, that's a good question. I'm probably right off the bat, I'd say no. I mean, I think that if you're going from, you know, like All in the Family and Seinfeld and Friends and then right to The Office, people would pretty much see it as maybe a mistake or like some, you know, publicity stunt or something. But yeah, I think that, you know, I think what pretty much all these shows that we're a part of, I think that a lot of them, it's just the level of intensity and the level of product has gone up, and I think that what we all benefit from are incredibly great people at the helm. And you know, I mean, taking an idea, and I mean, The Office, for all intents and purposes, you know, you go back to like reading online. There's no way I read online, because I think one post on the internet when we first started was no. It was just like, no, don't do it. And so it's like I've stopped then, and it's true. It's like you need the product and you need to do it well. And you know, even Entourage, I know that, you know, I love watching it, but at the same time, I think there are probably people who are so they feel skeeved out to watch behind the scenes in Hollywood unless you do it well. Like, nobody wants to see about movie stars getting big cars unless you see their story and do it really well like they do. And I know that Doug does an incredible job on that show, and it's all done well. And I think all these shows could fail if it wasn't helmed by the right people and written with these scripts.
It's all about the writing. It doesn't matter what it is. You know, you can have it. It's
and the brips.
And transparent.
And catering.
It's all about the writing. It doesn't matter. You can have an amazing cast. You know, you can have a great cast. It won't work. It's all about the writers, and they're the.
Unless you're Susan Boyle.
Right. But that's reality.
Again, not so much reality. If you look at that tape, all the cuts, the way they pull on your heartstrings, you know, cutting to
Yeah.
the judges, the audience,
And the producers had to know.
This did not come out of nowhere.
no.
Yeah, she had auditioned several times, so they knew she could do it. You know. So.
But could she do The Biggest Loser?
Aha!
See, that's the thing.
Well,
See,
but-
reality is watching the people that can't lose the weight. That's really the reality.
That's a great idea for a show.
Well, that's what America would relate to.
Right. You don't want to see someone become you want to, right?
First in Hollywood.